Beneficent, the Merciful. May Allah's blessing be upon the Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt. And from that blessing to enter the household of humanity so we can return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pleased with us and us with Him. 1,484 years have passed since the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and we continue to be blessed and be part of the commemoration of the event. We begin by sending our condolences to Sahib Zaman, to the Muslim leaders, to the Muslim Ummah, to humanity. Humanity is in need of the school of Imam al-Hussein at these days more than ever. Humanity is in need of the understanding of Karbala more than ever. But there's a responsibility that falls especially on those that say we belong to the school of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Why does the responsibility fall on those that say they are Shia Amir al-Mu'mineen? Because we are stating the truth is with us, the complete truth, the way of life. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, when he left and opposed the leadership, it wasn't because of status, position, or worldly gain. But he actually exited because the likes of him does not give support to the likes of Yazid. So today, we need to understand, because this is the responsibility of everyone. Our first responsibility is what? That we actually, through our character, through our akhlaq, through our way of life, people respect us. People are not frightened from us. We don't cheat anybody. We have patience. All the characteristics of Rasulullah and his Ahlul Bayt has to be manifested in our character everywhere we are. Not that we have multiple personalities. One at school, one at work, one at home, and one with our community. Then finally, many have to take depression tablets because they don't understand what personality, what identity they want to live by. Yesterday, I started my talk to inform you all that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from His rahmah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala nuru samawati wal ard. There are 4 main blessings that fall on every human being. We spoke about aql. Regardless, you're a Muslim, you're not a Muslim, Allah has blessed you with reasoning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with the ability to use your reasoning. But you need to use that reasoning and that mind. We stated that you require to use knowledge with wisdom. And when you use knowledge with wisdom, what will happen? You will have direction, and you take into account everything that's being presented to you, and you follow as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to listen to what has been said and follow the best of it. Not to hear. If you are on your phone, or if your mind is somewhere else, and you come to the lecture, if you have the Quran as background music, you're hearing it, but you're not listening to it. And there are different stages of listening. You listen, then you take action. By the end of my talk, if you don't feel that you have a responsibility, and I did not make it clear to you what your responsibility is and what you should do and what you should be gaining from these nights, either I failed and I say to you, please approach me and ask me so I can clarify it. Because it's an obligation on everybody. We need to learn how to use the gift of Allah, our aql, the ability to reason, the ability to think, the ability to collect data, the ability to convert it into information, the ability to understand it, the ability to put it into action in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a complete system. And we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with what? With the power to resist. Al-Quwwa Sab'iyya, or the ability to resist. Yani if someone wants to oppress us, if someone wants to wrong us, if someone wants to impose something upon us, we need to utilize the aql in the correct way to be able to defend our rights. If we don't resist and we just submit, we're going to be enslaved. If we just submit and we're going to become cowards, unable to defend ourselves when we need to. But there's one problem that our community suffers from. I can analyze it and say, give many reasons behind it, but we need to work on that. And that's not the characteristics of. I advise those that actually listen to Ahmed Salman, Sheikh Ahmed Salman. May Allah prolong his life and give him the ability to continue sharing with those. And inshallah, in the near future, his lectures are going to be available in English as well. We're working on that project. But I want to mention something that he mentioned in one of his talks as reference. Someone asked him, why don't you get aggravated? Why don't you get upset when they debate you and they attack you? Why don't you reply in the same way? How can you control your anger? He said, I used to have where I would react and I would be pushed to a point until I read a narration about one of the companions of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. He said that companion went to visit the grave of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, finding someone there of the opposition. He wanted to actually get the companion upset. So he actually made the effort to harass him, to speak with him in a wrong way. What happened? He reacted to that. And when he reacted to that, even though the person was not the follower of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, he looked at him and he smiled. He said, you can't be from his companions. Because we tried very hard to get the Imam Sadiq to be upset or angered. We failed with him and his companions. He said, then the person that actually quotes the narration, he says, even the enemy awoke me to do what is right and how to be with the companion. So if we want to say we are from the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt, we need patience, not a short fuse. If you have a short fuse and you can't do anything about it personally, and you've got a problem when it comes to anger, and you take action, you use your physical strength to try and make your point, that's not Islam. That's not the followers of the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt. Because we defend ourselves, we are not aggressors. And if we can do it in the best of ways, we do it actually how? With reasoning, with communication. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he says when a person gets angry, it means that he has a state of madness. Why? Because when you get angry and you act, you regret. Regret means that you did not process the information correctly. Madness is when you bring harm onto others and yourself. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen continues, he says, then when a person gets angry and has no regret, madness has set in. God forbid that we fall into that. Somewhere on that shore, we get angry with our children, we get angry with. We need to realize, we need to control our anger, we need to control. How did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam react with the person that when he was his neighbor from another religion, narrated being Jewish? How did he react? When he found that there was no rubbish on his way, he realized, he concluded there must be something wrong. He inquired, he realized he was ill. He went to visit him. And that was how he got the respect and to get the person to change, as Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam later on advises us. What? To actually call onto this path with our actions. To be an angry person and you come to Muharram and you do latmiyat and you do tatbir and whatever, that's not the character. You come to Karbala to fix your character. You come to these occasions to awake inside you. When you go away, you need to put a plan. What do I need to change? You begin with what? Ya Rabbil Alameen. In the same way, Ya Allah, you gave your ibad the patience and you gave them the ability, you pray for that. But in the same way, when a person is sick, we pray to Allah, then Allah has created what's called medicine, and He actually, people that contain that knowledge, that will give us treatment. If we're not able to overcome our anger, we need to visit someone to help us with anger management. Brothers and sisters, if you're a person that actually has a short fuse and quickly becomes angered, do you know what that problem is? Your trust in Allah is not there. It means you have a problem. It means that you need to fix this problem. Because you know what it destroys? It destroys family. When a man comes home and he takes his anger from what he experienced outside on his family, on his child, don't ask afterwards, why has my son or my daughter don't respect me? Why doesn't my wife respect me anymore? You need to realize how to control your anger. And if you don't learn how to control your anger, and sisters, I give you advice that if you want the love of your partner, you need to know him, what will anger him. Work with him. Don't act in a way to realize, learn what makes him angry and avoid it. Sit down with him and communicate. Don't pass that on to your children, because this is not the characteristics of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. Being a Muslim doesn't mean just wearing a dress code or a name. It's a way of life. In every decision and everything that we do in life, that's Islam. We need to take action. If you can't fix it yourself and you find yourself always provoking the other person to become angered, get help. Get counseling. But get counseling from the right source. Pray to Allah to help you. Otherwise, you're destroying your own homes with your own hands. This is the blessing, because you can take it towards direction that even in the creation of other life forms become better than us. But when we direct this power, because you know what needs to happen? If I feel anger, I need to sit down and I need to think, do I have the rights to be angry? Do I have the rights to resist? And what's the best way of resisting? Is it yelling? Is it screaming? Is it throwing? Is it becoming physical? Is it becoming violent? When children grow up in an environment like that, you know what will happen? Daughters don't want to get married anymore. Then we're actually providing an environment for those that are trying to normalize the LBGT, Q, and whatever letters they want after that. We're actually providing them with our loved ones that they can brainwash. Because if a father is abusive to the mother, I don't blame the female if she doesn't want to know male anymore. And you don't have to be physically with your hand. Even if you're verbally abusive, you don't make her feel appreciated. You don't make her feel loved. What will happen? You're a tyrant in your own home. Instead of building, so when you leave this world, you have someone that will continue to pray for you. You actually brought someone into the world that's going to be a burden on you. Brothers, Islam is not a name. It's a way of life. It's a complete system. When you trust in Allah, Allah will give you the strength that when all the problems, you'll find that what? You have the ability and you have the strength to deal with it. Imam al-Hussein taught us exactly this. What did Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam? He witnessed the martyrdom of everyone and he was left. He had a cause, he had a mission. How did he teach us so in all the problems our heart remains comforted? He says, knowing Allah has witnessed this and allowed it to happen, my heart is comfortable. But us, he's a ma'soom. He's got control. But me as an individual, what should I do when I see problems? Firstly, I need to see if the problem that is facing me, I need to awake. Okay? I need to awake. I need to make sure that Allah is not shaking me, trying to bring me in the same way when somebody has a heart attack, he gets an electric shock. So sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wake up. So you feel things are not going right. You need to ask yourself, am I doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from me? And if you're doing everything that Allah wants from you, then be content and be thankful that you're being trialed in the same way that prophets, in the same way messengers were trialed, in the same way imams were trialed, in the same, because when we learn about them, it gives us the strength to be able to deal and smile in the face of trouble. Then we will learn and understand when Zainab alayhi salam placed her hands underneath the body of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and she said, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurbani. Oh Allah, accept this as an atonement from us, as an act of nearness to you, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We surrender. We give you everything that is precious to us just to make sure that humanity becomes guided. The third power, and the power that everybody has a lot of problems in. I address my brothers first. You reach an age of puberty, and you have heard about temporary marriage or mut'ah. What do? You look at the contract, and you go out and you actually build a relationship, a physical relationship with someone. Again, this is a gift and a powerful continuation from Allah. But if you do wrong, remember, the female that you're going with, she's entrusted now to you if you do. She's your partner in life. You can't con her just to obtain your physical desires and satisfy your physical desires. Oh sister, I say to you, if somebody says, regardless you're a Muslim or non-Muslim, if somebody says to you, I love you, don't believe them. Don't believe them unless they tell you why, and they can prove why. And don't think, sister, that if you give yourself physically to that person, he's going to commit to you. Today, we are actually bringing to ourselves this problem. And especially the fathers that allow their sons to do temporary marriage. But you can adore it. It's like a law for male, but not for female. Double standards. The temporary marriage is not understood. In that contract, you can actually put no physical relationship. It's for two people to come to know each other. When my daughters wanted to get to know their partners and their future, they've done a temporary contract with my consent, but no physical connection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a complete system, but we're abusing it. So my advice to you, if you actually act, you're not acting. Don't fool yourself. I've heard stories where females, and one particular person actually called me. He says, you give public lectures, you must know people. Do you know any female that requires temporary marriage? I'm studying here for 4 years. I said, are you looking for a wife that if you find her she's good, you'll remain with her? He said, no. I said, then you're not communicating with me, and I don't advise you. Why? She's a human being. Allah created her. He didn't just create her so you have a relationship with her for a month or 2 months. There is attachment. And that attachment that occurs, you're dealing, you need, then I don't blame when somebody attacks us through. Why? Because we're exercising the law of Allah in a wrong way. We need to understand it before you even go to commit to marriage. You need to learn, what do you want from a marriage? It's not my son has become to an age he can get married, I just bring him any female. No, it's a family. It's the continuation of carrying the message of Allah. Carnal desires. Brothers and sisters, we need to control that. That if we don't place it in the way of Allah and only for our carnal satisfaction, then there's going to be a problem. And then don't blame what is happening, and don't blame children when the reaction or somebody that opposes the religion. We live in a world where actually, hunger is part of carnal desires. Okay? If you don't eat correctly, you're going to become overweight. Then you're going to become obese. Then you're going to become unhealthy. That's not Islamic. And you don't starve yourself. You need to learn about what you place inside your body. So if we go to Ahlul Bayt, they said we are a people. We don't sit down to eat unless we're hungry. And we stop eating with tolerable hunger. And they're educated to realize they don't place inside their body based upon what their taste buds have been conditioned to. They actually consume what's beneficial. Again, I would advise we need to become educated. But all of us, do you know what we do? We mix certain foods, dump some spices on it that we like, we get addicted to it, and we call it. Then afterwards, at an early age in our life, we get a heart attack, or we need to, what do you call it? It's what we consume. Ali alayhi salam stated, your stomach is the place of cure and your stomach is the place of disease, meaning what you place in it and what you don't place in it. You want to be healthy, learn that. Health starts in the kitchen. This is an education. This is not, you can't just act based, I've got my own food, Lebanese style, Iraqi style, Iranian style. But what do? We're social eaters. We don't know when to say stop. Again, the mind has to be controlled. If we don't give them, if we're acting based upon, taste buds don't understand, the stomach doesn't understand, we become addicted and craving what even harms us. Because the person that becomes an addict on drugs, what happens? They want to go back to it. A person that becomes addicted to any type of alcohol, cigarettes, harmful, it becomes an endurance to try and stop it. Because what have you done inside your body? There are cells that are calling for it, that are killing you or shortening your life. This is carnal desires. We need to put it in the direction of the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fourth is the vision. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the ability to foresee, because the carnal desires, inshallah, when I return from my trip, and those that are interested in doing a course, or if you don't want to do a course, I recommend to you the book of Muhammad al-Naraqi, Jami' al-Sa'adat. It's the Encyclopedia of Happiness, but it teaches you how to be a better human being, but you need to, it's not about to read it, you need to take it into action. You need somebody to teach it to you, in Arabic and whatever. Find the books, take a look at, because it actually manifests what the akhlaq of the truthful people would have. So we come to what? Imagination. It's a blessing from Allah. And every human, the first act, the ability to resist, and the carnal desires, we share it with every human being, because that's from rahmatullah. From rahmatullah. Ar-Rahman is manifested in this. And imagination is ability to foresee the outcome. If we don't have imagination and we have bad vices, somebody can con us, because we're not taking a look at. A man then can con a female to obtain his physical desires, then leave her afterwards. You need to utilize your imagination with your reasoning. And when you utilize your imagination with your reasoning, do you know what will happen? You'll know how to defend yourself. You'll know how to. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Just to complete this, so I don't go for a third night, I might need about 5 to 10 minutes. I will finish at 7:30 on the dot. I do apologize to the Sayyid and to everyone, but this is a very, very important subject that everybody obtains. So the imagination is the ability to foresee. For example, on Sunday, I've got a flight at 9 p.m. I know I need to be at the airport. I can foresee myself. If I'm still alive, I will realize that on the 31st, I will be in China. Okay. But going to China, I need to realize, do I need a PCR? When I arrive to the airport, what's required? I need an air ticket. I need my requirements to arrive there. This is the blessing from Allah. Or, if I don't use my imagination, and if I don't use my reasoning together, somebody can come and con me. People today in the world that we're in become conned. Who are the most to get conned and deceived? A little child. Bring a large coin and bring a small coin. The small, let's say 50-cent piece and a $2 coin. Okay? A child at a particular age will choose the larger coin. Not based upon value, because they don't have the value of the knowledge of what they are taking. So we need to actually, this is the actual knowledge and imagination. And brothers and sisters, we see things with the ability what Allah gifted us. Now I want to share with you something very important. With these, everybody, because we begin when we recite, Ali alayhi salam stated, Al-Quran is contained in Surah Al-Fatiha. And Surah Al-Fatiha is contained in the Basmala. And the Basmala is contained in the first letter Ba. And the Ba, the secret of the eye, is the dot underneath. Because everything in existence actually points to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our existence states there's a creator, even if we say there is not. Okay? But Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So what did we speak about the first four? This is for every human being to come to life. That's what we're all blessed with. Aql, the ability to resist. Carnal desires to continue. Imagination. If we use them together, we can take a look and plan for the next 50 years. Because Amir al-Mu'mineen, what does he say? Do for your hereafter as though you're going to live eternally. Okay? But do for the hereafter as though you're going to die in the morning. اعمل لدنياك كأنك تعيش أبدا ولكن اعمل لآخرتك كأنك تموت غدا. While you're doing those actions, remember there is the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what's required. If we get all of that correctly, do you know then what will happen? Then the fifth one, this is when Nurullah becomes to be manifested through you. Because where do we obtain our akhlaq from? Asma'ullah al-Husna. So I advise everybody here, go and learn Asma'ullah al-Husna. Take a look at the secrets of Asma'ullah al-Husna. Learn the du'as of our imams and begin a change in your life from tonight. Do it with your tears. Do it with motivation. Go away and begin this. Build better homes. Take the responsibility on. Then do you know what will happen? You will begin change in the world that you're in. Then you'll protect yourself and you'll protect your family from a hellfire that its fuel is rocks and the human being. So brothers and sisters, I pray to Allah that it has my words has fell onto ears that are listening, not hearing me, listening to me. You go away and you actually begin an action. You become a representative of this school of thought and not a misrepresentation of this school of thought. Ahlul Bayt, the will of Allah is manifested. The will of Allah is manifested actually in their actions and in their way of life. So when we learn from them, they are hujjatullah ala khalqih. They are the evidence of Allah upon us. Not as a door of shafa'ah, because inshallah in the future I'll speak about shafa'ah, it exists, but we have a misconception when it comes regarding maybe the last night The next 2 nights, inshallah, my son Muhammad Hussein will give the lectures. The last night, I will continue this lecture so I can give it what it does require. Let's conclude by asking Ya Rabbil Alameen, cleanse this heart from attaching to the world and materialism, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, bless us so this heart becomes your kingdom. We live and die as Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam lived and died, and every Imam and every Prophet and every in your way. Ya Allah, bihaqqi Muhammadan wa ali Muhammad. Protect us from being deceived. And we require to protect us from being deceived and deceiving. Because if we're deceived, we're going to deceive our children and our loved ones. Ya Rabbil Alameen, protect us from being deceived and deceiving. Ya Allah, bless us. Gift us the ability so we can be amongst the people you have chosen. You have placed this guidance to us. Ya Allah, bring towards our children those that they will learn and protect them for us. Ya Rabbil Alameen, gift us the reward so we can join our Imam al-Mahdi Abdullah Ta'ala Farur al-Sharif, so we can become guided and guiding. How can we be with the Imam if we're not guided and guiding? But to reach that, you need to practice what I shared for you tonight. Islam is not complicated. Islam is a way of life that you take an action plan and you put it to action. And the Imam is very near. He's awaiting for us. We're not awaiting for him. Change your life and you'll feel his presence. Change your life and you will realize that you're with him. Change your life and you will realize Allah aqrab ilayna min hablil warid. Allah is closer to us than our lifeline. And we give Surah Mubarak al-Fatiha to those that left this world, deserving of it, and for the guidance of humanity, preceding that with a salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.